Londres, Inglaterra, 19 de março de 2002. Agentes da Unidade Britânica Nacional de Crimes Tecnológicos prendem o administrador de sistemas escocês de 34 anos, Gary McKinnon, acusando-o de hackear computadores ultrasecretos do Pentágono e da NASA por 13 meses.
Sem dúvidas, a descoberta mais fascinante que McKinnon disse ter feito foram os arquivos que falavam sobre algo chamado agentes não-terrestres. McKinnon falou sobre como esses agentes eram supostamente enviados para naves, cujos nomes começavam com USSS, que poderiam ser naves espaciais dos Estados Unidos. Na mente de McKinnon, ele tinha descoberto uma prova concreta de um programa espacial clandestino e altamente confidencial do exército norte-americano que ocorria paralelamente ao programa espacial normal da NASA.
Welcome back. I'm talking to Gary McKinnon about when he accessed NASA computer systems and found some very interesting information on there. So, what period of time from when you first accessed the first system to when you got arrested? What's the duration we're talking?
Oh, like 18 months, 2 years.
Right. All right. So did you have any feeling at the time that you might get collared for this at all?
No, because I thought initially when the security's so lax anyway, I thought, well, if it's that easy to get in, then they probably aren't monitoring properly.
Right.
So.
Right. All right. So let's talk about what you saw before we go on to then what happened with the arrest and everything. Right. So just tell us when you got your first hit, if you like, as regards actually seeing something interesting.
The first thing was documentation. I used a program called Land Search. I think that once you had control over the domain, because you'd get control of domain controllers, so you own the whole network, basically. And Land Search could actually search all the files and folders on every machine. And obviously it's hard because things aren't going to be called secret UFO data.pdf, are they? So, but I'd scan and look for documents, etc., and I found an Excel spreadsheet that was actually called, or at least in the heading of the column, it said non-terrestrial officers. And I was like, my bloody God, that's just
non-terrestrial officers.
Non-terrestrial officers with ranks and names, and then a separate sheet with tabs for material transfer between ships. And these were, I mean, I don't remember the names now. It's a long time ago. A lot of people give me a hard time for not remembering the names and stuff, but it was a long time ago.
Right.
But non-terrestrial officers thought, well, it must be, let's try and cut out all the possible conventional explanations first. I searched for that term. It was nowhere. It was nowhere at all. Now if you search for the term, you only find links to me and stuff that I've said.
Right, I see.
So it wasn't a standard thing in the military at all.
Right.
So I took that to be, they must have a secret space-based. These ships were called USS whatever and USS whatever.
So they started with USS.
Yeah, so that implies Navy, and I think the Navy do a lot of space stuff,
right.
The US Navy.
And how many officers' names would you estimate were listed, and how many ships were listed?
Probably, oh God, I think there was probably one screen full of officers' names. So what's that, 25 rows on an Excel spreadsheet? And these were low resolution days as well. So you're talking about 800 by 600 screens, not very big. But the ships was probably, I don't know, a third of the spreadsheet.
So estimate how many different ship names you saw?
Oh God, maybe 8, 10.
8 or 10.
Yeah.
And am I right in thinking that you then tried to search for those specific names?
Oh yeah.
Right, and
didn't find a thing.
Right,
Yeah.
so you think that they could be classified...
Not the names of the people, the names of the ships.
Yeah, but they could be classified secret or top secret.
In building at the Johnson Space Centre, I found out there were folders called raw and filtered, or processed and unprocessed, and these files were like 200 odd megabytes, 250 megabytes. They were in a proprietary NASA format. And this is in the days of 56k dial-up, so you couldn't download them in like 5 minutes. And I wanted to get on there, find out what I could, and get out quickly. And so I had remote control of the desktop using a program called Remotely Anywhere. And so if you double-clicked on an image, their proprietary software came up, and the image was there. but it wasn't there like that because it's a slow connection. I turned it down to I think 2-bit or 4-bit colour. I can't remember if it was monochrome or just 4-bit colour. And it started, juddering down the screen. I think remotely anywhere was a Java app at the time. And I only got to see about half or 2/3 of it or something. But it was a hemisphere of a planet, which I assume was Earth, because it was blue and it was cloudy. And but it was a classic cigar shape with no seams, no rivets, no sort of workmanship on the outside. But it did have one sort of human-looking thing, which was the sort of geodesic domes that you see at Men with Hell. Above and below, to the left and the right, and one on its nose, and I assume, one on this side, and I assume one on the other side as well. So, I mean, some people say that could have been man-made because of that geodesic dome feature. But the fact of it all flowed in. There was no, there's the tube, and there's a socket for the dome. It was all a flowing, but that's when I saw someone else, the mouse moved, right-clicked on the LAN icon, disconnect, and boom, I was gone.
When you saw that particular image, did that then lead to your arrest?
Yeah, because when they disconnected me, they obviously got my IP address because I was doing a direct connection, foolishly, at that time, because I was getting lazy or cavalier. And it was NASA that contacted BT about the IP address. Then you get the client's address through the police, UK police. So that's what got me caught. Next thing I know, there's someone saying, Gary McKinnon, in front of me. And I woke up to find a detective, whatever he was, from the National High-Tech Crime Unit, saying you're under arrest for, well, I assume he said hacking into NASA. I can't really remember now. But
and so, did they take you away from your home then?
No, the first thing they did was a massive search. They searched my girlfriend, they searched me, they searched the house, they took away the computers, not just the hard drives, they took away all the computers. I was fixing computers for people as well, they took away all of those. Yeah.
Right. So did they give you them back?
Oh yeah, after a long time.
So why did that then turn into an extradition request and a threat for 60 or 70 years in prison? How did that progress from up the chain?
Well, what happened, the NHTCU officers went to Washington, and when they came back from Washington, they'd obviously been extremely impressed by talking to the top brass over there, who'd obviously said, it's a very serious case, he's a very dangerous man. Just like
this is the Americans said this?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I'm assuming, because the officers came back with a completely different attitude. No longer was it 6 months or community service, now it was a very serious thing.